Sean O'Malley is arguably one of the most dynamic finishers that you have seen grace the UFC's octagon. Like, legitimately, he's acrobatic, he's athletic, fast twitch motions. He just looks smooth in there.
Taking all my biases out of it, Derick, I think Suga Show as a UFC champion is one of the best things that can happen to the organization. You know, he has the flair, he has the flash. We can see another Conor McGregor-esque star being born.
Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Can the Suga Show, Sean O'Malley, stop the Funkmaster, Aljamain Sterling, arguably the greatest bantamweight to do it currently? We're going to find out. That's what we're here to break down, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. UFC 292 is here. It's upon us. My name is Derick G, and welcoming you guys is, of course, the co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native himself. AJ, brother, we got a hot one on our hands. How are you feeling?
Derick, a hot one on our hands is an understatement of the century, man. We got the Suga Show back in town. We got Knockout City coming, brother. I am very excited for this fight card. How you feeling?
I am feeling dangerous. I'm feeling uncertain. I think if anything, man, there's so much uncertainty when it comes down to this card, because if you go on any other YouTube channel, if you hit Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be, it's one-way traffic on one way or the other, right? You got some people saying Aljamain Sterling is going to get clean knocked out into next week in the first round. Other people saying he's going to put the backpack on him. Choke City. We're going to find out. That's what we're here to break down. So, folks, let me introduce you. If you are new to this program, the Bloody Water Podcast runs a head-to-head competition all year long. That means that this competition is far from finished, but we're very close to being even keel right here. AJ, 83, 54, and 2. You are firmly in the leaderboard by a couple of picks, but firmly in the leaderboard. Tell the people who have not seen this program before what they should be expecting in the next couple of months as we close this out.
Folks, Derick might have said firmly in the lead right now, but I just want to give you a little revisionist history, a little bit of backstory on this. My boy on the other side of the screen right there has come back from a very large deficit before to take it, to steal that gold belt right out from under me, and I'm not letting it happen again. You can see he's flaunting them right there, and every week it makes me just a little hungrier to keep on driving. This is basically 0-0, and what you can expect coming out of these next few months is nothing but pure action, folks. We are both gunning all the way to get another gold if you're on that side, or get your first one over here, which if you're rocking with my picks, you know I've been leading all year, but it is never safe because MMA is a hell of a game. Derick, are you excited? Are you still hungry? Or are you feeling like these are one of those cards that might just end up in a 0-0 again?
Listen, man, I'm on my triple C, call it triple DG over here. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get it right. But folks, let me just remind you this. At the end of the day, this is a competition. Ego is at stake. Prizes, gold is on the line. So the better that we do, at the end of the day, better for us. Better for us, better for you if you tail our pick. So this is a win-win scenario. And with that being said, AJ, let's jump straight into the TLDR, baby. Look at the picks right here. All that I got to say is I'm pulling this off the screen in approximately like 2 seconds. So you have an opportunity. Screenshot. I hope you got it because it's gone now. This is what I will tell you. Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks are as such. And still, Weili. We like Ian, the future Garry, Mario Bautista, and Marlon Cheeto Vera for the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks. If you want to know why, stick around. We'll tell you all about it. One controversial pick, and that's just the main event, baby. Give me the Funkmaster, give me Aljamain Sterling, and give me a submission victory. AJ, how do you see it?
Folks, if you already know, you know that I'm a Suga Show fanatic. I've been here since day one, and I'm never turning my back on the show. I'm going knockout. We'll give you a little sneak peek right there, folks, but stay tuned because there's ways about how this goes down that might surprise you. And like Derick said, it may be one-way traffic on Twitter, maybe the other way on Instagram, but you know who has the best breakdown of it all is right here, and we're here to win you some money. Make sure you stay tuned.
That's right, and then let's jump into a very quick prop lock of the week. AJ, I like Cheeto Vera, decision plus 100. Why do you like Ian Garry submission plus 275 in just 1 to 2 sentences?
Because Ian Garry is a finisher, Derick, and this is the best way I can see him getting it done with the Haitian sensation. Either way, it's going to be a fun fight.
Once again, folks, if you want to know why, stick around. Tell a friend to subscribe because, of course, this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. And without any further ado, AJ, it's time to talk some fights, baby. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, AJ, championship is on the line. The Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling looks to defend his title once again against the most coveted prospect, contender, whatever you want to call him, the man who just came off of a close, controversial, but still bloody affair against Petr Yan, former champion right there. Listen, man, this is the future of the bantamweight division. Aljamain Sterling, 1 foot out the door. He says, without a doubt, this is my last fight at 135. Sean O'Malley says this is a win-win for me because if I win, I'm the champ. If I lose, I'm the last dude to fight for the belt, so I'm still the champ. How do you see the implications of this matchup?
You basically hit the nail on the head, Derick. It seems like Suga Show doesn't have anything to lose besides a little bit of his ego. And even with the last fight that he had against Petr Yan, I think that ego kind of got a little checked right there. So maybe we're going to come in, we're going to see a hungrier Sean O'Malley. Maybe we're going to come in, we see a Sean O'Malley that's just a grappler since day one now. But I don't know, Derick. Do you think he is able to pull out those kind of skills, or is this going to be a classic striker versus submission artist right here?
This is the tough part, man. Sean O'Malley is arguably one of the most dynamic finishers that you have seen grace the UFC's octagon. Like, legitimately. He's acrobatic, he's athletic, fast twitch motions. He just looks smooth in there. It's butter when he's in there striking. We have not seen an opponent say, I'm going to put you mat return, grab your back, mat return. And the one time that we did see it, well, guess what? It was like the worst fight IQ in the world. It was Andre Sukumtoth, right? After Sean O'Malley hurt his leg, he said, I'm going to go for the takedown, right? So it's just tough, man, because we have not seen him there. A lot of people really do like to criticize his strength of schedule and say that, I mean, at the end of the day, man, he has not fought the dudes that Aljamain Sterling has fought. And I think without any doubt, that's absolutely true. Now, let's take a look really quickly at like the win percentages. Sean O'Malley, like what, one submission win, something like that? I think all of his victories are all knockouts across the board, man. So it's like, it's such a dynamic approach to this fight. It's either Sean O'Malley cleans him up on the feet, Sterling chokes him. But do you see any in between there? Like, how do we stay in one side for one person or the other?
I do see a little in between there, Derick, and I want to touch on a point you said earlier. Not a lot of people are able to get Sean O'Malley down to the ground and nonetheless mat return like crazy. Aljo is one of the few that I see being able to have the niche to be able to get that done. The thing is, can you grab a hold of Suga Show, especially when he's in that flow state? And it's right there where I think we're going to see that mix. I don't think it's going to be a one-sided knockout affair or it's going to be a one-sided backpack affair. I do think when both of these fighters get in that flow state, really start feeling themselves, getting past that first, second round, then we're going to see that mix them up, man. We're going to see a lot of grappling, a lot of washing machine-esque fights, if you will. I think we're going to see a lot of the clinch game worked really, really well as Sean O'Malley controlling the distance. That's what he's used to, so that's not a surprise right there. But as far as the takedowns, that's where I think we're going to see this fight transition to who's going to be the better man. Let's say Sean O'Malley's back hits the ground 4, 5, 6 times. That's kind of a good thing for Sean because he's able to get up, tire Aljo down, let him go. But if Aljo's able to hold him down all day long, it's going to be a massive mountain to climb. Mm-hmm. Do you see Sean O'Malley being able to get up off the ground if he's taken down?
You know what's crazy, man? And this could just come from blind optimism, but from the tape that I've seen just of him in camp, you don't see it in actual fights, but in camp, his grappling actually looks legit, man. Like, he looks like his ability to create scrambles and to create madness out of those opportunities are more or less second to none, you know what I mean? Like, but it looks like that. I don't know if that's true. Aljamain Sterling proves it. His is legitimate. He puts the backpack on you. You're pretty much not going nowhere. And that's what scares me about this matchup. If you're a Sean O'Malley, better right here, but also if you're an Aljamain Sterling, better as well. Because look at Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan. And really all that I'm going to say about this is that Sean O'Malley in that fight, very close fight, had the bigger moments, the flashier, bloodier moments. If he can create more moments in this matchup and Aljamain Sterling racks up a ton of control time but isn't able to finish O'Malley, that's where it gets interesting. Can you see O'Malley winning like a super close split decision or like a super close unanimous decision based off of exactly what I just mentioned?
100%, Derick. I think that side of the card is a little more in favor for Suga Show, especially because in at least late history, we've seen that a damage outweighs control time. And that's kind of the thing right here. Going forward, man, Suga Show has those moments. He has that kind of star power. And if you take at least the media's outlook on it, not too many people are a big fan of Aljo, you know, an undeserved champ, if you will. I'm not saying that's why the air quotations are there. We've seen this man get to work, and we've seen him do some really good work in that octagon. But I think if Suga Show is able just to squeak out just a little bit more like that, maybe a little bit of that Uncle Dana money to the refs, or to the judges, will slide a little bit. Who knows if it does? But I do think that the silver spoon mentality that Sean O'Malley has kind of taken on, where, like you said before earlier, Sean O'Malley has not fought the same kind of caliber of opponents Aljamain has, arguably because he's one of the cash cows of the UFC going forward. That right there kind of gives him a little bit of just a little extra for those judges to really kind of style on for him. Now, the thing that I'm curious about, Derick, you mentioned it a little earlier, Aljamain Sterling. Last fight in this weight class, man. Last fight at 135. We've seen him struggle with the weight. Obviously, the first fight he had against Petr Yan, man, struggling hard, down. He was tired. He looked like that kind of thing. And if you look at the way Aljo's looking, boy, he is stacked, jacked, and ready to rumble. Will we see a weight issue? Will we see a cardio issue going forward for this one? What do you think?
Well, it's tough to say, depending on what type of fight can you have. Can Sean O'Malley stuff 10 takedowns out of 20? You know what I mean? Like, can he? If Aljamain Sterling is nonstop foot on the gas and Sean O'Malley is sprawling brawl all of a sudden, or creating wicked scrambles where Aljo can never really get his hands on him, I can see some problems arising. But the other problem is that Sean O'Malley has never fought 5 rounds. Aljamain Sterling is coming off of what? Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-round fights. And 3 of those 4 fights actually went the distance. So it's different, man. I think in terms of cardio, you always going to give it to Aljamain Sterling. In terms of everything else imaginable, in terms of damage, shock value, highlight, excitement, it's got to be Sean O'Malley. It has to be. You know what I mean? So I think it's time, at the end of the day, let's give our picks, bro. Sean O'Malley hasn't had the greatest last 5 fantastic highlight victory wins, but Julian Paiva, Pedro Munhoz, eye poke, Petr Yan is really like the icing on the cake. If Sean O'Malley gets it done, does he have to get it done KO?
Does he have to get it done KO? No, Derick. I think he can win the style points from those referees that we were talking about, the judges we were talking about earlier. You see some flying knees, or you see some spinning stuff. You see Sean O'Malley set up his traps. The crazy thing is we see him set up the traps, but he's actually setting up 2 traps down the road. That right there is where Sean O'Malley can win the decision. But to be honest with you, Derick, I'm rocking with that plus 300 TKO knockout, brother. That's the one I'm thinking. Give it to me round 3. I might even say uppercut, something like that. See him shooting in. We're going to see some flash coming out of the Suga Show side. How do you see this one ending, Derick?
Well, one thing that I like that you said was round 3. There's something about that number that really, really interests me. And I think that Aljamain Sterling, inevitably, is just going to be too overwhelming in terms of the fundamentals, man. Grappling, ground control, hold you down, don't let you do the flashiness. He might have to eat a shot. I think and I anticipate him getting knocked down and and Sean O'Malley having the big moment. But I think this is going to be a matter of the glitz and the glam versus the bread and the butter. And I'm going to take bread and butter 9 times out of 10. And I'm taking Aljamain Sterling right here. Submission victory, round 3. That's how I see it for the Funkmaster. And then it's going to be Merab's division to take if he can get past Sean O'Malley. So with that being said, AJ, last thing, and then we're going to move on. Normally, it's a quick move on from here. My only question is, just as an MMA fan, and no sides taken, you don't care who wins, does Sean O'Malley, bantamweight champion, how does that sound to you? Are you offended? Are you like, oh, I love to see it? Are you in between? Are you indifferent? What are your thoughts?
Taking all my biases out of it, Derick, I think Suga Show as a UFC champion is one of the best things that can happen to the organization. He has the flair, he has the flash. We can see another Conor McGregor-esque star being born, and he's been doing the work since 2014, 2013, something around there when he was on the Contender Series. I think it's a good thing. What about you?
I kind of feel like it's the UFC's full indulgence into WWE, personally. It's like Brock Lesnar being champion. But it's just because Sean O'Malley is a character, and he's fun, and that's it. He's a master of branding and marketing, you know what I mean? But with that being said, those are your Bloody Water Podcast picks. The 2 different picks there, Aljo or Suga Show. You decide. Let us know in the comments who you ended up rocking with. With that being said, let's move on, AJ. Let's talk about Zhang Weili, Magnum versus Amanda Lemos, man. You got really a tried and true champion. Weili, man, has fought adversity. She's won the title. She's lost the title. She's looked unbeatable. She's looked incredibly beatable. And now she's right back to looking unbeatable. But she has a very interesting test in front of her. Amanda Lemos, arguably, if you really have to break it down, is probably the hardest hitter that Weili has faced in her UFC career thus far. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%, Derick, especially not only hardest hitter, but one of the most fluid strikers that's able to put together a combination with violence. Yeah, we've seen some, especially in the female divisions, very fluid strikers. They know the technique. They have the basics. Everything's down. They're looking crisp. But when Amanda Lemos hits you, she hits like a Mack truck, brother. That's one of the things right there that has one of her X factors, if you will, going forward for this fight. Do you see Weili? I mean, you said it yourself, brother. She's looking like a killer. She's looking like a world beater, a defined champ now. Is she able to handle that power?
Here's the thing. This is where experience plays in. I do think Weili will be able to weather the storm, but I am worried. And the thing that worries me is after reviewing tape on Weili, the one thing that I see happen far too often, just far too often, is her willingness to engage in a straight up scrap. Just straight up, head down, throwing the big shots, eating the shot, bouncing back out, and then getting back to technique. And I think that if you make that mistake too many times against Amanda Lemos, you're literally playing into her hand, into her best path to victory. So this is where I say if Zhang Weili is the matured champion now, right? She's over the people booing her being champion when she fought Rose Namajunas. She's more just about true martial arts. I'm a champion. I'm here to really just show you guys there's levels to this. Then she's going to do the smart thing. And the smart thing is strategically, tactfully, attack Amanda Lemos in a similar style that Jessica Andrade did. Once you give them the big blitz, utilize your wrestling. Look at that fight-ready MMA style that Zhang Weili has adopted since training with Henry Cejudo. She's looking like a D1 wrestler. Not quite, but she's looking pretty fantastic. My question to you, AJ, does Amanda Lemos, in that tall, upright, rooted Muay Thai stance, is she able to fire off a quick knee to the forehead if Zhang Weili tries to shoot in on a single, or does she go like what she did against in the Michelle Waterson fight? Shot in for the single, hip heist, and went out to the guillotine. What do you think?
Can Lemos crack from the outside? 100%, Derick. And that's really where the danger is. Weili Zhang doesn't set up her takedown, doesn't mask it, doesn't actually get to the hips. She's just a hair outside of where she should be. Amanda Lemos is dangerous at any single point while you're making that entrance, especially with your force going forward and the kind of timing that Lemos presents. That's really what's dangerous right here, Derick. I'm glad you brought up the Fight Ready camp, though, because with that camp, with that prestige, with all the accolades and knowledge that they have going into that camp, I don't see her rushing in like that, Derick. I do not see Weili Zhang going out of her new character. Yeah, her old character, right? The one you're talking about, willingness to bite down on the mouthpiece and swing something. That right there, I think, is going to go by the wayside, and we're going to see a very technical, very classic style of fight out of that Fight Ready camp. Do you see her evolving into that new era of fighter that you're also talking about?
Weili, yeah, absolutely, man. But there's still little deficiencies in her game that give me pause. For example, Amanda Lemos, one thing she throws really well is she will not just double up her hooks, she'll triple up her hooks, right? So in that pocket, on a desperation shot because you just got rocked with something and you still got two more shots coming, are you instinctively diving in and then getting cracked? Because that's just the thing. Weili is really tough, man, and we've seen it time and time again. But I think I could at the same time be lending a little bit too much in the camp of Amanda Lemos because there's a couple things we need to take into consideration. Big power, lower volume. 36 years old. AJ, we need to address the elephant in the room. This is her shot. This is her opportunity. That's why number 5 is fighting for the championship right here. I just think Weili is the better mixed martial artist in total. What about you?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Derick. And that's actually is a nice segue into the props because I'm surprised. Plus 150 TKO prop for Weili Zhang had my eyebrows raised a little bit. I thought that in the submission would be switched. Do you see that as valuable as the bettors are?
Yeah, I do. And I want your take though. Why do you think it should be flipped?
Pure striking coming out of the Lemos side. We haven't really seen her be able to defend the takedown or the submission attempts as well as other contenders have. Weili Zhang, very dangerous both in the feet and the ground game. But I think with that Fight Ready camp, having Henry Cejudo, having that, like you said, D1 style of wrestling going forward, I think that's the bread and butter win for Weili Zhang. Do you see it the same, or are you seeing something different there?
Well, the reason why I'm not surprised at the plus 150 TKO prop is because we saw what Zhang Weili literally just did to one of the scariest grapplers in the division, Carla Esparza, and she kind of ragdolled her around. Perfect transition, circle to the back, hip heist. crucifix, like quick crucifix into a back take. Literally taking a single leg and transitioning that into a back take. It was beautiful. And when you see stuff like that, I think that, once again, if she goes the smart route, she takes Amanda Lemos to the ground. She tries to control her as best as possible and takes like the Erin Blanchfield approach and just smashes her and gets the TKO victory. I think that'll be easier because Lemos does have some grappling chops, absolutely. And I think Weili was able to get that submission on Carla Esparza because her striking was so dangerous. Well, Amanda Lemos has super dangerous striking too, so you're really going to have to pick your shots. So that's why I see it that way. But for Amanda Lemos, man, I just don't think, we haven't seen it too much where she's really had to fight that fight of, once again, you got somebody in your face. So last question, and then we'll give our picks on this one. Zhang Weili at her best, confident, walking you down, cutting off the cage, not following you, setting traps. Amanda Lemos at her best does the exact same thing. Who actually gets it done?
I think Weili Zhang takes the front foot on this one, Derick. I think Amanda Lemos, with the power she has, with the striking acumen has, and like you said, even still good on the ground, I think she's going to feel more confident, not really respect the champ's power at least. I think she's going to respect the champ. I think she's going to respect the acumen and the talent that the champ presents. But I do think she's going to go into the fight thinking, if I crack this girl one time, she's going to be on the back foot. I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to be able to do that. I just don't see it happening like that, Derick. I see Weili Zhang being the dominant one in there, being the alpha, controlling the fight, and surprising Amanda Lemos with the strength, and then just dumping her on her back.
I think key to victory, Zhang Weili, maintain your range, use your kicks, shoot strategically, and beat up that front leg of Amanda Lemos. She's very deeply rooted into the ground when she strikes, so just take away that base. With that being said, I like Weili. I do like that TKO, though. I actually do like that plus 150 TKO. I think there is very much value there. Any prop you like here, AJ?
I actually really like the plus 390 submission, Derick. I do see a lot of value in that, especially because of the ground game attack that we're going to see Weili Zhang present.
Fair enough. That is your women's strawweight championship, folks. And all the rest of the bouts from here, to be completely frank with you, we're going to run through these ones a little bit quicker. This was a very thrown together card to a degree. So let's talk about the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny. He gets the short notice replacement and gets to become the A-side against Ian, the future Garry, number 13, man. And to me, this is a fight that had some steam on it because both fighters kind of had been calling for this fight previously. Ian Garry is looking like, legitimately, they're saying it's first time in a decade, man, that there's somebody who you can say with a stone cold face is the best, Irish fighter currently who's not named Conor McGregor. And it's this guy, Ian Garry. And I think that has to be fair simply due to the inactivity of McGregor, but that's neither here nor there. How high are you on Ian Garry taking on a crafty veteran, man, Neil Magny? He has a lot of wins over guys that he probably shouldn't, and he has some losses to some guys that he probably shouldn't, but we know he's a tough test either way. What do you think?
I'm very high on Ian Garry for this fight, Derick. I think the youthfulness and the exuberance and the speed and the talent that Ian Garry presents is going to be a challenge because Neil Magny is used to being that slickster himself. I mean, he hits hard. He has talent all over the place. Like you said, fought the who's who, lost some, won some, kind of that up and down middle fighter. I just think this is the time for the future, man. Ian Garry presents such a different challenge than a lot of these dudes do because he's been doing it for so long. And as much as Neil Magny is that crafty veteran, Ian Garry is also extremely crafty as well, Derick. So I think this one, it has a lot of heat behind it. Don't get me wrong. It does have a lot of heat behind it. But do you see a trap game at all for the Neil Magny bettors on this one?
Like, would you trap game in terms of Neil Magny winning or Neil Magny?
Yes.
Neil Magny. Oh, yeah. For the Ian Garry bettors, do I see trap game? Yes. Okay. I do see a potential trap game because, like I said, Neil Magny is not a slouch. He is a guy that, with a very, very fundamental approach to the contest, can steal a win from you. You know what I mean? Control time, ground and pound, rack up volume. He can do it. Now, is Ian Garry going to allow him to do that? I agree with you with some of that youth and exuberance and some of that just pure athleticism, striking. I just think he cannot get too within himself in terms of being too high on himself in this matchup because we saw what happened when he got handed I don't want to say a layup, man, but come on. Song Kanan is a good fighter, power puncher right there, but that was kind of a layup, like a showcase type bout, and he got clipped bad. And we could be talking about a different career trajectory for Ian Garry. So if he's not too high on himself against Neil Magny and he stays composed, yeah, I think he can squeak the win out, not a problem. But you take Neil Magny lightly and he makes you pay every single time. My question to you before we move on, man, is that contrast of styles. If Neil Magny cannot secure a takedown, can he win this fight?
Ooh, I don't think so, Derick. I don't think so at all. I think the hands of Ian Machado Garry are very powerful. Maybe not the slickest, maybe not the most technical right there, but he has a way of finding a finish that is uncalculable, if you will. He has that knack of getting things done. I do think if Neil Magny has trouble getting to the ground, we're going to see his output drop a little bit, and that's when Garry takes over.
And here's the thing, man. This is the thing about Neil Magny is he just beat Phil Rowe. And, like, I can't say how impressive of a victory that is. His only 2 losses are to some legit guys. Shavkat Rachmanov, right? And Gilbert Burns. 2 grapplers. Is Ian Garry going to go and wrestle? I don't think so. And if you look at the last 5 dudes he's fought, there's really only like 2 guys there that can wrestle legitimately like that. So I don't know, man. I do have a weird feeling in my gut about this, but Neil Magny is getting up there in age now, 36 years old, even though he came off a very impressive split decision victory. I think that there's something that makes me say, even if you're full in on Ian Garry, drop $5 on a plus 750 decision for Neil Magny. Just do it. Just cover. We'll, just in case. But aside from that, man, I like Ian Garry. I don't know how I feel about that minus 105 TKO. I don't know if I like that minus number next to it. I can see that plus 300 decision. But AJ, talk to the people because you got the prop lock of the night on this one. Talk to him.
Woo, submission, folks. The prop lock is here. And that's where I think Ian Garry is going to be able to put on a show. You just said a little bit ago, Derick, career trajectory. Mm-hmm. If he gets knocked out in that layup, whole other side of this thing. But if you go up against the Haitian sensation, put work on him, and then tap him out in one of his best skill sets, I think that's going to rocket Ian Garry up forward. And I think when I looked at it, it was plus 260. People are doubting it a little bit, but don't get me wrong. Ian Garry has the chops to be able to get it done. I don't think he's going to be shooting doubles. I don't think he's going to be the one initiating the takedown. But if you get Neil Magny hurt, you jump on his back, you're able to get a rear naked, you're able to find something in there. I don't think it's going to be that technical of a submission setup, but I do think in that chaos with the athleticism that Ian Garry presents, that's my prop lock. Give me that plus 300 submission, baby.
And listen, man, I mean, it's an interesting because these odds, these prop odds, these are like open odds, right? So what you looked at is the most current odds, plus 260. That means the number's going down. That means people are believing in the submission victory a little bit more. Maybe there's something to be said there. I like Ian Garry on a victory here. I would not lay any money down on a minus 440 money line. That should be common sense, but we're letting you know. And with that being said, AJ, let's move on to another short notice of bouts. Mario Bautista versus Damon Blackshear. He's trying to pull who was it? Lupe Godinez, right? Same type situation. Fought last week. I could fight again this week. I'll be fine. Not only did he come off of a spectacular twister victory, which is just like, man, one of 3 people to do it in the UFC or whatever, but then he gets a fantastic career opportunity. Now, real quick, we have to give context, AJ. You remember, Damon Blackshear starts off his career a little weird. It's like, 1-1. Where's all the hype? This dude was supposed to be super good. And what did we say? AJ, talk to the people. What did we tell him?
This guy is still real deal, bro. He's still a really good fighter. You cannot sleep on Damon Blackshear, even though he has not had the entrance into the UFC. Dude, this dude is extremely dangerous in any fight you put him in.
And we even said, hey, legitimately, do you think we see a career turnaround here for Damon Blackshear? And both of us, while there's no victories on the UFC record, we said, he has to. This dude is too good. Well, now everything is coming together. And now we got the beast, the scary Damon Blackshear. But here's the tough thing, man. 7 days notice after you just fought, after you just cut weight on a pay-per-view card against Mario Bautista, who's on, a 4-fight win streak, a dude who is super duper hungry and a man we've been very high on. If this fight did not have these circumstances, I would have a different opinion, but I have a hard time seeing how Mario Bautista does not utilize his wrestling to get a victory here. What do you think?
I agree with you, Derick. And under different circumstances, under the non-late notice, both these guys have time to prepare. this to me, even with the late notice, this is still a fire versus fire fight. The thing is, though, I give the edge to Bautista in that kind of aspect just because of the style of fights he's been in lately, dude. This dude is an absolute killer. Hits hard, hits fast, has the wrestling acumen, has the jiu-jitsu. But the crazy thing is, so does Blackshear, bro. So that's why I think this fight is very, very interesting. Like I said, I give the edge to Bautista. If you were watching earlier, that's what the card showed, but don't count out Blackshear in this one, bro. This is a very dangerous fighter. I think both fighters are going to have a career rise in this fight. And I think this one, bro, this has potential for fight of the night. What do you think?
Well, yeah. Does it have fight of the night? Well, maybe. Here's the tough thing, man. Everything I love about this matchup is marred on 7 days. You just fought. You just cut weight. You're cutting weight again. Like all of that, it just rubs me the wrong way, man, if I'm being completely real. I think Mario Bautista's fluidity and his grappling is going to be a little bit too much because if you push the pace over the course of 15 minutes, one guy is naturally going to be fresher than the other, man. And unless Blackshear pulls off the victory, proves all of us wrong, and he's just some type of alien who just has this immense cardio reserve. He's got some fucking video game energy levels or whatever. I just find it hard to be able to win out a gritty victory because I think that's what Mario Bautista is going to make this. So once again, you can see there's it's NA across the board for the props because they haven't even put him down yet because that's how short notice this fight was put together. I was barely able to get a money line odd, and for the money line odds, man, they like it. Minus 230 Bautista, plus 195 Blackshear. Not nearly as wide as you would expect for somebody coming in who's relatively unknown. But relatively unknown, Blackshear. Listen, man, give me this fight. Regardless of outcome, give me a rematch on a full camp for both of these. I'd love to see it, but I have to side with the Mario Bautista, a decision. I'm just going to go decision just because I got respect for Blackshear, but I can see a finish here too. What do you think?
I can see a finish here, Derick, and really because of the 7-day short notice that Blackshear's having to put in right there. And that's why I think this is going to be a dog fight. I think he's going to know, bro, I got to get in there and put work on this dude that if I don't, he's going to put some work on me. Give me Bautista. Give me the TKO.
All right. Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. And I don't want that to be the case, but I mean, realistically, it is fair. And to open us up, man, I mean, who better to open up a card than Marlon Chito Vera, coming off of a pretty rough loss, but he does get a bounce back fight against Pedro Munhoz, man. This is honestly right here, this is like one for the fans. This is just like a OG's matchup. Like you see Chito Vera, Pedro Munhoz, like AJ, doesn't Chito Vera feel like an OG fighter? Like he could have been around back in like the 90s or something with his just blood or gut style?
Oh, 100%, man. You want to talk about a guy who's willing to bite down on his mouthpiece and give it the dog in him, bro? Marlon Vera. I mean, yeah. we talked about it before, Derick. I'm a Sugar Show fanatic over here. And arguably, Marlon Vera still has that number, bro. You know something has to be lingering in Sean O'Malley's head. And Marlon Vera, as much as I agree with you, yes, he is that old school blood and gut style of fighter. This dude has been growing exponentially with each and every single fight, bro. It's hard to look past Marlon Vera. This dude's an absolute killer in there. Obviously, he's got the Goggins mentality. It's hard to be even just staring against him, I imagine, for Pedro Munhoz. But on that opposite side of the coin, we got a dog as well, brother. We got somebody who is so talented, seen it all, done it all, willing to get in that dog fight. Do you think we're going to see exactly that, Derick, a firefight, or are we going to see a tactful match right here?
I think this is going to be a tactful matchup, and you got to think, man, there was a fight that you were preparing for, Triple C, Henry Cejudo, your kryptonite, wrestling, right? And then you get Pedro Munhoz, who also has some slick jiu-jitsu, very fundamental kickboxer, right? But I'm going to say that fundamental nature of Pedro Munhoz is kind of going to potentially lead to his downfall in this matchup. I think Chito Vera, being the aggressor, utilizing his kickboxing, breaking down Pedro Munhoz, and allowing himself to let go, you know what I mean? Open up and less fear of that shot that would be coming from a wrestler like Henry Cejudo, like Corey Sandhagen after he took him down a bunch of times. Without that fear, I think he'll be able to open up, and I think that it's going to be power versus precision, power in favor of Chito Vera, precision in favor of Pedro Munhoz. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. I do like it's crazy to say that Pedro Munhoz is going to lose the power battle because this boy hits extremely hard, bro. That's the crazy thing. But I do agree with you. Precision versus power. I'm right there with you. My question, Derick, for you, who do you think is going to win the leg kick battle? Because I think that's going to dominate a lot of how we see this fight play out. Who's setting the traps? Who's leading the dance? Who has that outside foot position, is able to do more damage to the opposite guy's front leg? Personally, I could see it either way. I'm leaning Cheeto's going to be winning that fight, but Pedro Munhoz has some of the best leg kicks we've seen in the game. Do you see it being as much of a factor in the fight as I do?
I think it's going to play a factor for sure, but I think Pedro Munhoz wins the kick battle due to volume. I think Cheeto just throws less. I think he throws more powerful kicks, but I think Munhoz, he just volumes up on those kicks, and Cheeto Vera is a guy that'll just walk you down and walk through you. We've seen when he hits people, it's just different, man. The hard part is actually hitting them, but once he hits them, for a 135-pound fighter, there's just something weird that happens to them and they crumble, they fall over. Pedro Munhoz, though, I do want to touch on that point, man. It is a wild thing to say Pedro Munhoz doesn't got that crack, because he does. If he hits you with a hook over the top, you're going to bed. Like, it is what it is. But Cheeto Vera's got a massive chin on him too. And the thing that really intrigues me the most is look at the prop, man. And this is where we talk about power. Look at the prop. Plus 425 for Cheeto Vera, plus 1,000 for Pedro Munhoz. In all honesty, without sounding disrespectful to an absolute legend, man, the young Punisher, Pedro Munhoz, I do think that this is Marlon Vera's fight to absolutely win, unless he just kind of gives it away. You know what I mean? In a weird way, I think that's the reality of this matchup here. This is not Henry Cejudo. This is a showcase bout for Marlon Vera, but it does come with high implications because Munhoz, this is win-win, right? Number 6. You get the big spot in the rankings. You're not supposed to beat a guy like Cheeto Vera. If you lose, you're supposed to lose anyways. You know, short notice, all types of built-in excuses. So what final takes do you have on this matchup?
I love the outlook you're having on that one, Derick, because I actually had the same one, but I was thinking this is Marlon Vera's fight to lose. You know, he has all the chips stacked in his favor, but if he does not perform against an absolute killer, like you said, in Pedro Munhoz, this is where the fight gets a little interesting to me. Mm-hmm. I do like Cheeto Vera in this fight. I do like that he's a dog. I'm still going to go with that plus 100 decision, though. I don't see a finish, and it might be because I respect Pedro Munhoz so much, but I don't see a finish right here, Derick. How do you see this one going?
Well, folks, welcome to my prop lock of the night. I like Cheeto Vera with the plus 100 decision. I think Pedro Munhoz is going to be too evasive for Marlon Vera to be able to land the big shot, the combination of shots that will require knocking him out. And I think that at the end of the day, submission isn't really going to come into factor in this matchup. I just think that Pedro Munhoz is such a veteran. He'll be able to avoid the big damage, but Marlon Vera will handedly win a decision. I also look at it as this is only 15 minutes, bro, and Marlon Vera is a slow starter. So by the time you ramp up, it's already round 2. You know what I mean? So that is why I like that plus 100 decision. But I mean, hey, if we see a finish, I would not be mad. I would just be impressed. That's all that I got to say there. So with that being said, Bloody Water Podcast consensus pick, Marlon Cheeto Vera via decision. You got to love that prop lock right there. All right, folks. And with that being said, it's time to move on to the next segment of our program, which is the most coveted section, right? This is going to be the opportunity where we talk about the unknowns of today and the stars of tomorrow in one capacity or another. So let's break down the sleepers, baby. Let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're going to sleep on me and I'm going to wake you up.
All right, AJ, I think it is time to talk about some sleepers. And in true Bloody Water Podcast form, we have back-to-back sleepers. And what I mean by that is it's back-to-back in the bout order. Now, AJ, can we be honest? Can we just take a moment of transparency for a second? UFC 292, while it has a pretty massive headline, right? O'Malley, Sterling. Lot to be desired on the rest of the card, right? You know, prelims, I was just like, man, there's like Chris Weidman at the top of the prelims, which is like, why are you on the prelims? But anyways, and then you got some fighters who are still known, and there aren't a ton of real sleepers that arguably we haven't covered before. We pretty much covered both of these fighters. It's time to talk about them again. AJ, you're going to kick us off here today with a interesting step up in competition. KGB, Andrea Lee versus Natalia Silva. She was my sleeper just a couple of weeks ago, 15-5-1, fantastic fighter. Talk to the people, AJ.
Folks, Derick said it earlier, man, highlighting the stars of tomorrow and the unknowns of today, but you get a little mix of both, man. Andrea KGB Lee, let me give her the full name. She was at one point an absolute killer, running through ladies left and right, and now she faces who she used to be, man, in Natalia Silva. This is a very dangerous fighter, and why I like this one so much, folks, we see all the time in female martial arts, very tactful, very technical, very precise, but Natalia Silva can absolutely crack with the best of them, has power, has jiu-jitsu, has all the intangibles in the fight game that you want to see. But the nice thing is, so does KGB Lee. She just hasn't really proven so much as of late. You know, you can see the double losses, you can see the wins. She has that kind of roller coaster style of fight. But why I chose this one specifically for a sleeper, folks, because you're not going to be expecting these girls to come in and just go for it. You can see a lot of people are already, even on the Tapology, looking for a decision. But I think with the violence that Natalia Silva presents, KGB Lee is going to need to step up her striking game, going to need to step up her defense, and put herself in situations to actually win this fight, which causes more danger, which causes more of a chance for Natalia Silva to get that finish. And we all know she's a finisher. There's a reason she's been a sleeper 2 times on this segment, and not because for lack of a card, man. You need to tune into this fight because it is going to be a lot of fun. Nonetheless, very technical as always. I'm predicting a finish, folks. Derek, what do you think?
I think this is must-watch TV right here, bro. This is the step up that she needed. I mean, Andrea Lee is, she is number 13, ranked fighter. This is her shot. They're trying to give her the push, and it is much deserved, man. She's being active. She's knocking people out. It looks fantastic. This is what you want. What more do you want of an exciting fighter? Natalia Silva, watch out. And folks, I want to talk about my sleeper because I got another good one too, man. I'm talking about Marina Moroz versus Karini Silva. Now, Marina Moroz, the Iron Lady, Ukraine star right here, who's coming off of a decision loss to Jennifer Maia, which was tough because she pretty much got outboxed for that. But she's a boxer. She's a wrestler. Who is she fighting? Karini Silva, who has Darced Poliana Botelho and then submitted with a knee bar Ketlin Souza. The point that we're making here, folks, is that you have the young versus the tried and true. You have the person who was coming off of a loss in Marina Moroz, who was looking damn near like a real hot shot after the wins over Maida Bueno Silva. AJ, look how that has aged so well after she beat Holly Holm and is now up for the title. And then Maria Agapova, right? All that I got to say here is that Karini Silva is must-watch TV 100% when it comes down to her grappling, when it comes down to her striking, when it comes down to mixing it up in mixed martial arts. So what I care about is this is like a real-life version of this season's of The Ultimate Fighter, the veteran versus the young gun. Who can reign supreme? Because let's not forget, Marina Moroz will put you right back in your place until we remember, AJ, she's an OG. But look at that, 29 years old for Karini Silva, bro. That's all that I'm saying right there, is that there's really not too much that separates them. But when it comes down to, ooh, that is not where we're supposed to be. There we go, AJ. But when it comes down to the fight game, listen, man, Marina Moroz is kind of on the latter end. Karini Silva's just coming up and they're the same age. Isn't that the beautiful thing about this sport?
That's the absolute beautiful thing about this sport, Derek. And what I like most about this, you're saying it yourself, Marina Moroz, the older school style of fighter. Yeah, she has a little bit more wear and tear. Now you look at Karini Silva, you think she's a younger fighter, but you go and compare their records. And Marina Moroz technically has less fights, has less miles on this card. I still really like Karini Silva in this fight, bro. What do you expect, folks, besides must-watch TV, 2 sleepers back-to-back, first 2 fights of the card? This is going to be a fun fight card. You need to tune in, folks.
That's all we bring you, folks, here courtesy of the Bloody Water Podcast. Now, not too many more bouts that we need to break down, but there are some fights that we should definitely talk about here, AJ. And I'm going to take a look here at the UFC's website right here, man. So let's take a look here. I like this matchup right here. I think that this is going to be a fun one. We have, listen, man, Chris Weidman versus Brad Tavares. And forgive me, because Brad Tavares is getting blocked up, but it doesn't really matter what he looks like. What matters is the records right here. 15-6 for Chris Weidman, who's been around forever, multiple-time champion, all that good stuff. Feels slighted because he's on the prelims. Last time that he fought, the man broke his damn shin bone, man. Wrapped it around someone's leg. Like, come on. But he gets a mean fighting spirit, the Hawaiian fighting spirit in Brad Tavares. My question to you is, can the former champion Chris Weidman get back on track here against Tavares?
Ooh, Derek, can he do it? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. Is it going to be a hell of a hard fight? 100%, bro. Brad Tavares is a dog amongst dogs, and nothing against Chris Weidman, but we've seen him falter in positions where he shouldn't. But you're right, Derek. You did just highlight the fact that Chris Weidman has the takedown advantage, and I think that's where he's going to find best suit right here. My question, how many leg kicks do you think are coming out of the Weidman camp?
I think he's doing the same approach that all these dudes do. First thing that you do when the bell rings, you blast a leg kick. Make sure you're still alive and you're awake. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do. AJ, just so you know, as soon as I'm cleared to get back on the mats, I'm doing a blast double, same side of my jacked up knee, just so I could test it, just so I know it's still there, still intact. That's how we get down. Killers, bro. All right, man. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. Bro, AJ, this is a fun one. Dennis Tululin right here. 13-5, 11-7, knockout power power on both ends, man. Come on, bro. Look at this guy. Just a nightmare. You don't want to fight that guy. Dennis Slulin is a beast too. My only question here, man, is who gets it done.
Ooh, I think RoboCop's getting this one done, Derek, to be honest with you. I'm seeing KO City, and honestly, either guy can get it done. I just think RoboCop has that iron chin and a never say die mentality. But you're right. You just said it, bro. You just highlighted it, brother. 90% knockout wins, 90% for out of the Tuolumne camp. But something about Gregory Rodriguez just always has me hesitant to bet against him, brother. Do you feel the same way, or who you think's getting this?
Bro, yes, because I say Gregory Rodriguez is the guy that you beg to grapple every fight because of how high level he is, but he said, nah, I'd rather knock you out. And that's why he's losing, because he's not mixing it up. But he has the ability to mix it up. I've watched this man in pure grappling matches. Like, he is a savage. So, yeah, I like Gregory Rodriguez here. Granted, when the opportunities presents itself, he does grapple, and he doesn't just sit there and trade in a phone booth. That's my thoughts on that. So we like Gregory Rodriguez there. Then we got some Ultimate Fighter stuff. Folks, I'm not going to lie to you. AJ, I have to make a admittance. After watching the Ultimate Fighter, spending a lot of time last year, I just felt like, man, this is a very antiquated program that has not evolved much. And with the same format, especially with McGregor losing like 8 straight fucking fights, Team McGregor losing that this year, it just wasn't something I decided to invest my time in. Brad Katona. I mean, blast from the past right there, but what are you doing on the Ultimate Fighter? First 2-time Ultimate Fighter champion we're going to see? I don't know. We're going to find out. Versus Cody Gibson. AJ, my only question to you, and no slight to these guys because these are awesome fighters. Do you care?
Nah, not really, Derek, to be completely honest with you. Ironically, though, if you go back, revisionist history, folks, Derek last year liked the Ultimate Fighter a lot more. I actually tuned in this year. But I won't lie to you, I did lose interest in these last 2 weeks. I didn't even know who won. You're right, brother. I don't care.
Yeah, there we go. Simple as that. Last thing here before we leave, folks, and this is just a little transparency. Andre Petrosky, GM3, Gerald Mears chart, man. Andre Petrosky, after slipping up in the Ultimate Fighter, right? He comes in and he's just smashing people. Wrestle City, man. Suplex City. GM3 is a guy who, very much like Neil Magny, he wins against the guys he shouldn't, he loses against the guys that he shouldn't, but he's always up for a surprise. It's always fun watching the GM3 fight. Who gets it done?
Derek, I almost made this my sleeper because of that unexpected stuff that GM3 has, brother. You put him in a dog fight, he's going to come out victorious a lot more than he's not. Andre Petrosky has the wrestling to get it done, though. I'm taking the youth on this one. Wait, give me Andre Petrosky. What about you?
Give me Andre Petrosky with a little side of GM3 might just fucking submit him for fun. You know what I mean? It's just that type of matchup right there. All right, folks. That is your show right there. UFC 292. It has been a fun one. It's always fun breaking it down here at the Bloody Water Podcast. And I want to give you a friendly reminder that, or actually this is going to be my action item for all you guys here today. If you made it to this point of the show, I want you to just take a moment and try to remember how you found out about the Bloody Water Podcast. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a grassroots program. Word of mouth is everything. And whether it was via Twitter, whether you just kind of scrolled and you saw it suggested on a YouTube short or something like that, or if one of your buddies told you about it, like, that's what we ask. Just go share it with somebody else. Share the show. That's all we care about. AJ, take us out of here, man.
Folks, he might have given you the friendly reminder. I'm on this side to give you the non-friendly reminder. You need to hit that subscribe button. You need to share it with your friend. And why? Because we're winning you money each week, in and out, back and forth. And now we got prop locks. Lock these picks in, folks. And when you're winning yourself some money, make sure you hit that comment section and let us know, because we're doing it each week, in and out, always right here. And there's a reason we're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show.
I couldn't have said it better myself, folks. That's it for us. Until next time, catch us on Monday for the post show on the madness. Who's gonna be? And still and new, we'll find out. That's it for us, folks. Peace.